Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, human being, American, and YouTube Ronin. Already in the chat. Channel member, JPRPH1. Matt Sheetwood. Channel member, the tired midnight blogger himself, Curtis Selby. Faithful Blue Wrench, the bird woman of YouTube. Subscribe to her new channel, Fluff Chick Productions, Connie Clary. Yeah, that last call guy there. Yeah. You know him. Dark Side something. She of the smoldering new avatar, Editors Network. Friend of the channel, Jessica Hardo. Host of Geeky Geezers. Co-host of Friday Night Last Call and live from Sparkwood 21, Aged Boomer. We have guests lining up backstage. But I'm going to make them wait because one of these days I'm going to do an entire show that's just going to be introductions. He's trying to be funny, folks. Don't frack it up. It's your gig. Don't embarrass me. People are watching. No, seriously, there are actually people watching this right now. Troy Picelli and Editors Network.
Hello, hello.
Good evening or morning.
Connie Clary of Fluff Chick Productions.
Greetings.
Tired midnight blogger Curtis Selby.
Greetings and salutations from tired bloggers everywhere.
And a man who's probably considering backing out of this broadcast right now, H. Boomer.
Hello. Last minute decision.
Let me guess, the library isn't open tomorrow.
It is, and figure I could stop by for a little while.
See, there you go.
Right on. All right. So, I guess the best thing to do is to just ask the most important question first. Has anybody been banned by Kotaku lately?
Mostly not. You see, Netter made a comment about that just before we went on, saying, "Yeah, I'm disappointed that she never responded to any of my pokes on online and stuff." I said that's because she's gone to ground. She hasn't said anything on social media for a while. It's
like I really wanted her to send me a private message so I can just respond back to her telling her to F off.
And hello, Darth Plato. Yeah. Every time, one of these wokies makes one of these lists, I'm always like, I'm very disappointed that I'm not on it. Okay, I'm I'm a
Although-
small channel. They're not paying attention to me at all.
I will say that I am getting a lot of comments from the Alyssa Mercante stands that are coming
that's-
out
you
to
have to
fight
watch
her
that.
battles for her.
Yes.
You know, the one that one of you awesome Blue Wrenches, who I appreciate so much, kicked out of my stream on Friday, was commenting on a Twitter thread, just as we were going live, in fact, and I said something snarky, and then I don't block them on Twitter. I mute them because after I've said my piece, I'm done. I don't care how much they want to keep talking. I'm not going to respond to them. But I want everyone to be able to see their comments and know how foolish they are.
Yeah, I know. It's all very silly. It's like, I don't know. It's just like we're living rent free in their heads, folks. This is why I said earlier that I see a light at the end of the tunnel, and I think these people are finally being exposed for what they truly are, and they're doing it with their own words. And hey, let them burn down their own kingdoms.
They literally are. Boomer, weren't you talking about the fact that Kotaku, as a so-called journalistic outlet, can't even get any responses back from certain actual gaming companies?
This is
because
who
of
they're
how they-
blacklisted by. Let me see. I believe it was Bethesda. I think Ubisoft, Nintendo. Yeah, I know those were some of them. There might have been more. Yeah, they've gotten angry at them. I think Square got angry at them over something too. Yeah, let's see.
So
Well,
can you really
The
call
Final
this-
Fantasy 14 team won't have anything to do with them. So the people on that Square team,
Yeah.
Nintendo, Bethesda, Ubisoft, yes.
Can you really call yourself a game journalist if most of the game companies have blacklisted you?
I don't know. Well, they all haven't done it, but enough have. I mean, Nintendo was
Yeah.
a big one, and also Bethesda. They make Fallout and Skyrim and all that. But
Well,
I
imagine
don't get it.
imagine if you were I don't know a movie reviewer, and you weren't allowed to see Warner Brothers films, Disney films, and Paramount films. And they completely denounce you. Could you really call yourself? Yeah, I don't know. It's a bizarre world, and well, look, I mean, you can look at their stats. You can look at how many people are actually going to the sites and whatnot. That information is all out there. Their relevance is zero. All their PR is negative. The only people talking about them are people like Smash JT that are talking about them in the negative, pointing out what pieces of work they are. And then, eventually you hear, okay, Kotaku's gone out of business and everyone's been fired. And then there shouldn't be any questions as to why.
Well, they were making a point too. He was making a point that he thinks the whole game guide thing that they're forced to do is really just for the company that owns them is trying to figure out a way to sell them, but they have to polish them up and make it look like something worth buying.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, who would want to buy them at this point? I don't know. I guess there's the name, right? The name recognition.
Which is worth less than zero because it is so negative. You couldn't pay me to take it from you.
Now you have IGN buying up a bunch of sites too, which I don't know if that's good or bad in the long run, but we'll see. But some of these sites are pretty terrible too. But I don't know. I mean, I hate to say this, most gamers get their news from YouTubers. That's what they.
Yeah. You're better off going and watching Smash JT.
The whole news site. In fact, I think what IGN started doing, people used to complain about IGN, but IGN started doing videos on YouTube, and those actually apparently were well received. So even they got the hint that this is where people are getting the news from.
In fact, Smash JT has smashjt.com.
There you go.
So you can go there and get your news there. You can follow him on YouTube. I have learned more following JT than being a co-host on Geeky Geezers.
What is that supposed to mean?
I mean, up until then, that's where I got all of my game news was from you. You know?
From me, and now you do Smash JT.
Now I'm getting a lot of it from Smash JT, and he's talking about, like I said, I had never heard of Kotaku before. He was getting attacked by them.
I have brought them up to you before.
Okay, well, it goes
During
in
the whole
one ear and out the
Nintendo
other because
ban.
it doesn't mean anything to me. I don't, But
Well,
now,
that's because, I'll be honest, they've been bad before, but they never stooped to this level like they are now. This was pretty bad even for them, the whole contacting of the wife and everything.
Well, and it's what how do I constantly refer to them this way. These, not the companies, the people that make up the companies. They are social and cultural vandals. They don't exist to be impartial journalists, to inform people, to be objective. They exist to push propagandic ideals and destroy the pillars of our society. Those pillars of our society have always been politics, religion, family, but increasingly, and it kind of falls under the religion thing, all of our interests, all of the things we enjoy are entertainment. Entertainment is a very important part of culture. I mean, you could do whole theses, I suppose you'd say, of how television and books and whatnot have influenced the way people think and feel about all kinds of different topics, right?
Yeah.
And that could be used for good and could be used for evil. And when you think about things like, we do the good old days on Geeky Geezers all the time. We look back at television shows and stuff that inspired movies, that inspired great heroes, and Truth, Justice, the American Way,
Like the Shazam ISIS Hour.
Yeah, self-sacrifice, and always having a moral lesson to be learned at the end, right? Well, those are good for strengthening your national identity and your unity of community, right? The socialists can't have that, right? The cultural vandals want to undermine that. They want to destroy it and rebuild things from the ground up. So, which has never worked. Destroying only destroys. It doesn't build anything. And this is what you're seeing. Boomer, you said that you got into the YouTube thing specifically because of the original Gamergate.
Well, I basically, because Comicsgate was going on at that point, and I thought, that was something I was interested in learning more about. So I found a certain channel, which will go nameless.
No, yeah, Darth Plato's right. This is what happens when empires fall. We allow, like I said, cultural vandals to now don't be mistaken. I mean, the United States was founded on revolution too. Revolution does have its place when without citing the Declaration of Independence. When things get so bad that you don't have any other choice. Good people of good conscience have an obligation to overthrow a tyranny and start over again. But you better be the kind of people that are prepared to build, not just destroy, and that's it.
I don't know what these cultural vandals are trying to build. It doesn't like they have a cohesive vision of what.
I honestly don't think they have a vision as far as building. I think it's all about destruction. And one of the things that I've seen in my limited experience is that it is profoundly easier to destroy than to create. And a lot of people seem to think that, well, if I'm destroying all this stuff, then I'm getting something done. And there is creative destruction, I'll give you that, but often that's really not the case.
Yeah. And honestly, I see this especially from well, let's face it, a lot of these people are socialists, right? They believe in some sort of a communistic utopia that's an absolute fiction. And even if it did exist, it would require people, like I said, you have a revolution, right? You overthrow your previous government. You need to have people that are educated and, forward thinking, no history, no law, no politics, to then start a new nation, right? If you look at the American Revolution, they, threw off the British monarchy and declared their independence. They had to be prepared to create a new republic. These were educated men who looked to history and said, what is a republic? What is democracy? What kind of laws do we want governing us? These kids, role playing at Revolution, think that the whole job is undermining what you don't like. They don't have any vision for the future. Although they believe that this fictional, socialist utopia will suddenly spring up and everyone will live together, kumbaya, sharing everything like a John Lennon song. When the reality is, we were talking about this before Geeky Geezers. You look at the hammer and sickle, right? The symbol of the Soviet Union, right? You know where that comes from? It's from the workers. The workers, the hammer is the manufacturers. The sickle is the farmers, right? And this idea was that the workers, who produced everything would own what they produced. This is why when they say, socialism, looks good on paper, that's what they're talking about. The basic philosophy makes sense, right? Even from a libertarian, democratic perspective. The problem comes when most of the people that are involved in these socialist revolutions don't understand the work part of it. All they see is, I don't want to have to work. I want everyone to provide for me. These are rich, spoiled kids that have never had to work a day in their life. And when they do get a job, they're shocked that they're actually expected to produce something.
Well, didn't you see those commercials running around about the one girl that was working for LinkedIn? Remember they got to take snack breaks and go down to the ping pong table and all that. You know what I'm talking about?
No idea.
Okay, never mind then. It's a Gundam did a video on it. Okay.
It does seem like Twitter was like that before Elon Musk took over, but that's probably a story for another day.
All right. I'd like to say hello to some people who've joined us in the chat. Dadman Walking. Mark Mountakoff. Wilkie's Movies and Music. And a Clue Channel.
I am shocked by how many people are jumping in over on my, what would you call it, copy of the stream over on my channel, because it's like, it's late. I'm seeing a lot of faces that I know and love, but I haven't seen in a while. But man, good to see all of you. But one thing I got to say, I said it during Geeky Geezers. I wanted to say it to you directly, Deleted Scenes. Thank you so much for your generosity in so commonly having me on. And really, let's face it, what you're doing is you're giving me an opportunity to get some watch hours, because I am so close. 54 hours I need of watch time to monetization. I am that close.
Right on.
Nice.
I was hoping to be monetized by the end of the year. I could be monetized by the end. Well, maybe not monetized by the end of the week, but qualified to be monetized by the end of the week.
Yeah, but
I've
what
got
if
you
those,
running. Sorry.
what if those Twitter people write to Google and say he's bad? I'm kidding,
Well,
I don't
that's
know.
why you should be also following me on Rumble as well, because
There you
if anything happens to my YouTube channel, you know, I get the attention of these cultural vandals like Smash JT has. I could always lose the YouTube channel, but I will continue on Rumble, and that's where you will find me. Clue channel monetize Troy.
Yes.
Rumble. When I think of Rumble, I think of Rumble in the Bronx.
God, I haven't seen that in years.
Same here.
I think of let's get ready to rumble.
Rumble. Oh, we got
Those are fun.
be
Yeah.
careful. We could get the channel struck for that. Isn't that a copywritten thing or a
I think
trademark
it
thing? or
might
something?
be.
That's true.
So, deleted scenes. You said earlier that you might be hopeful for Hollywood. Is that right, or or not all hope is lost?
Well, the reason why I believe that not all hope is lost is because, people like Tom Conkle exist.
Yes,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
true.
You know, um, we do have those in our own sphere who are now, entering into the fray, so to speak, going into independent film. Critical Drinker is making a film right now. I've seen a trailer for it. It looks good.
Is he? I didn't even know. Wow. I'll
They're
have to look
making.
at it.
They've made a short film based on his Ryan Drake character. Say what you want about Chris Stuckman, but the man's making his own film.
Remind me, who is that?
But yeah, he is a YouTube film critic who
Okay.
kind of stepped in it earlier
Because he
this
said,
year.
"I'm not going to criticize movies anymore." That's what he said.
Yeah,
Oh, right, right. I
basically,
remember talking
yeah.
about him. Yeah.
And say what you want about him. I'd still like to try and get him on the show sometime.
Right.
I mean, stuff. Like we've got people like Tom Conkle out there. I can see a resurgence in independent film taking place because the problem with the big budget Hollywood films is that they're spending too much money. They're not putting out content that anybody wants to see. But if you go back to the basics, like I see independent film doing, like some of the movies that I brought up earlier tonight, which might be straight to video fare, but you have movies that are not offensive. They're not out to bag on half of the audience. They're enjoyable, they're entertaining, and there might be various degrees of that. Even a movie I kind of dumped on tonight, The Fall Guy. I have issues with that movie, but it's not offensive. They're not out to get anybody with it. They just spent too much on a movie it turned out nobody wanted to see.
I'm surprised they even filmed it at all.
Hmm.
I was not even expecting that either.
You know,
What is everyone's favorite independent film?
Recent or from
Yeah,
the past?
Sure,
Well,
recent.
I don't know, I
Ish.
haven't really been paying attention to many films coming out because most of them, they're probably garbage. Um, it's like now if I go back in the past, movies like King of Masks and Il Postino, those were independent films.
Well, I don't
and
know
they're
if they
great.
were independent films. They were foreign films.
But I think they were independent foreign
I don't
films.
know. I honestly don't know.
Although, a film that hopefully will be coming up, I'm hoping it's going to be coming up within the next year, will be Island in the Stars.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get an update this Thursday from Tom Conkle on that, but looking forward to that. What's Angel Studios is doing some great stuff.
Mhm.
I haven't had a chance to see the what's it, Teresa? Was that it?
No.
Not Teresa. What was it? Cabrini. I haven't had a chance to see Cabrini yet, but obviously, Song of Freedom was probably the best movie of the year.
I was surprised how much I liked that one.
Mhm.
I was afraid from so many things that I'd heard because I try desperately hard to be centrist, and I was afraid it would go too far right. But to
Mhm.
me, anyway, it did not.
Yeah.
That's my own humble opinion. Anyway, was that it told the story. It may have dramatized it, and
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. But it told the story. It made a point, and that was it. That was really all. You could vote however you wanted. Just understand that this situation is going on, and if you can help, please do.
Well, and see, and that's just it. Everyone, it was under such a microscope, right? And, was it a religious film? It would be really hard to classify it as a religious film. Yes, there is talk of, the main character talking with his wife, her telling him he needs to pray, he needs to,
And of
so on
course,
and so forth.
there's the line, God's children are not for sale. That's what he said.
Exactly.
Yes.
Does that in and of itself make it a religious film? I would have to say, if you're really objective, no, it absolutely doesn't. I think what was it? Wasn't it the Sam Raimi Spider-Man film where Uncle Ben, prays for the meal or something like that? And I'm like, holy cow, you don't see that in movies anymore, And
Well, actually, it was
that
they also the Green Goblin too. What's his name? The Osborn. She said you have to say grace. Remember?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Wrong person, maybe at the time.
Well, no. I mean, it was. It seemed to be an acknowledgement, and actually, that's actually an even better thing. It shows a duality, right?
Right.
A true conviction versus going through the motions. Do I think Sam Raimi is in any way religious? I have no idea. I don't think so. But there used to be a time when that kind of stuff was in everything. It was in TV. It was because it was expected to be part of culture. Now it's like taboo to talk about religion. Guess what? Religion is a part of life. Nobody has a problem talking about all their bedroom issues and who they like to sleep with. So back off when someone wants to throw in something related to the way people live and believe. Just saying.
All right. Well, we've got some answers in the chat here. Matt Sheetwood said, "I don't know if it's an independent film, but I liked The Man from Earth."
The Man from Earth.
Which I
I don't think I'm familiar.
don't think I've seen.
I have watched.
Go ahead.
I have watched some things Matt's recommended that turned out to be much better than I expected them to be, but I'm not familiar with the Man from Earth.
I guess he
And-
was from Earth. I
It's a 2007 sci-fi thriller.
what did I
Something
see?
about an
Independent.
impromptu party at a college professor for a college professor.
I haven't seen it.
You know, Mark Melnikoff
Doesn't sound-
makes a great. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Mark Melnikoff makes a great point. He's talking about Star Trek fan films. He's absolutely right. Star Trek has sucked since JJ and his acolytes, got involved.
Secret Hideout.
Secret Hideout, Bad Robot, all of those effers. And honestly, the fans are doing much better work. Yeah, they may not be, great acting. Surprisingly, the special effects are every bit as good. It's getting easier and easier to make films these days. It wasn't mentioned as the Fall Girl. Yeah, exactly. Well, they couldn't use that title, though. That would sound bad. The feminists would get upset about that.
They would call it sexist, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh no.
Fall woman.
Because what is the fall guy? The fall guy is the one who takes the fall for somebody else, right? That's what the stunt guys were, right? And that sounds, that sounds subservient. It sounds, and it, in a way, it kind of is. The star gets the glory, but the stunt guy is the one taking all the bumps and bruises and danger.
I believe Darth Plato is suggesting that we dump J.J. Abrams into the Gulf of Mexico.
I would like to dump him into the Gulf of Mexico, but I see what you're saying.
Rather cutthroat, Troy.
I know.
Sorry, sometimes my jokes are too vague.
He's done some good work, right?
I did like the first couple of seasons of Person of Interest.
Oh, I love that show.
Was he
Yeah,
behind
I
that?
feel like that one.
He was kind of a producer and name only on that. He was involved kind of mostly with getting the pilot on the air, and then it was pretty much a Jonathan Nolan thing from there. And hello to our man from the future, Sashi. Yeah. Abrams is a producer on Person of Interest, but it's not like a Bad Robot. They didn't get their hooks into that one, thank goodness. Defund Disney, Abrams, Kurtzman, and Disney monetize Troy instead. Agreed.
So say we all.
Uh-huh.
A few weeks ago on Friday Night Last Call, we did the future of movies from the studios for like the next few years, and Troy was a little nonplussed, but I don't know if you heard any of that stream or if you deleted scenes have any movies you're looking forward to that maybe are further out. What do you think?
There are a couple. I'm really curious to see what Robert Eggers does with Nosferatu.
Mm-hmm.
That one I'm looking forward to. There's a movie coming up called Flight Risk with Mark Wahlberg that Mel Gibson is directing. That's supposed to come out in October. That sounds really good.
Okay.
I'm starting to respect Mark Wahlberg more and more. Let me just say that.
Yeah, he was in Deepwater Horizon. That was a great movie that came out a few years
very
back.
good one.
And I think also Patriots Day. Was he in that as well?
He was.
Memory serves, yeah. So he was supposed to be in a theatrical version of the $6 Million Man, but I don't know if that project ever got off the ground.
I doubt it.
They're gonna, I guess, have him play.
It was
Steve
supposed to be
Rogers.
like the $6 billion man, right?
Yeah, I guess I don't know what they were gonna call it. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, because they've been trying to do the $6 billion man kind of for a while now, because there was even a version of that back in the '90s that Kevin Smith was involved with.
Oh God, I'm glad that didn't happen.
For sure.
But what a lot of what he was going to put into that movie was kind of similar to what ended up in the Bionic Woman series that they tried to do that didn't last too
Cameron
long.
Pasha worked on that.
That was a victim of one of the writing strikes, I think.
Yeah.
Which year that was? Was that 2012? I don't remember. That was Kitty Sackhoff was on that too as the villain.
Yeah.
The first Bionic Woman. And yeah, it was. I was kind of intrigued by it because it was the Battlestar Galactica people, the reboot Battlestar Galactica people. They were the ones working on it.
What was interesting was
I think some of them, yeah.
Yeah, Katie Sackhoff's character to me struck me as there was an episode of the original Bionic Man where there was another bionic individual, and they had to square off against each other, and I just felt like, okay, you're kind of going back to the Bionic Man and recycling stories here, aren't you? There's a good way to do that, and there's a bad way to do that, and there were some things about that that I guess you'd call it reboot Bionic Woman. I had high hopes for it, but there was a lot to be desired, in my opinion, there.
And hello, Jedi Bill.
I'm sorry?
I was saying hello to
Oh, yeah.
the Bill. Yeah.
Patrick Burt brings up the point about how expensive the films are, and honestly, that's another completely huge Bionic Sasquatch. That back in the 70s, Sasquatch was big. We loved our Bigfoot. Okay,
There was a documentary that came out.
absolutely. But this is an entire, so that's two completely different clauses. You're right about the message, right? All that does is upset people and push them away, which probably halves your potential profit. But on the front end of that, you've spent so much money making this movie. Even if it's good and everybody goes to see it, you're not going to see a significant profit. You're starting out so far in debt, and historically, the best films were made on low budgets. You know, think about ways that you can cut those costs. Don't waste money. I've heard way too many experienced filmmakers when they hear, you know, these younger people talking about fixing it in editing or, you know, fix it in post. No, fix it now. Get it right the first time. You know, if you get it right the first time, you save yourself thousands of dollars.
But it's hard.
Then you're in the wrong business. You know, it's these basically socialist-minded people who think, you know, everybody else's money is free to them and they can waste it as much as they want. I don't care. I make my money up front. I don't care how good the movie does. Well, guess what? If the movie doesn't do well, in theory, you should never get to work on another film again. You know, that comes back to the other socialists they got sitting in the boardroom saying, yeah, we'll just keep, because you keep putting the message into stuff, we'll keep letting you waste our money, because it's not our money anyway. We don't own stock in the company. You know, and then it takes the people like the Trian Group and whatnot to come out and say, hey, we're tired of losing money.
Well, we all know the secret to success is to use other people's money.
Well, that's only half of it. I agree with you. You're right. But the other half of it is to then make a profit. You know?
Not wrong. That is absolutely right.
I mean, because otherwise all that is embezzling. But if you take other people's money and you make profit from it, more people will want to give you money.
So I don't know. What do you think? It's an entitlement thing or whatever?
That might be putting too fine a point on it, but you're not wrong. I think it's a lack of awareness, a lack of understanding, and an apathy based on not being able to see the bigger picture.
Do you think any of that tied into the strike at all?
Well, I think that kind of mentality is always tied into every strike. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that people don't have a right to strike when they have a real grievance and whatnot. But when you get to the point of having to strike, it's kind of like getting to the point of divorce, right? By the time you get to divorce, both sides have probably fallen short on a whole bunch of things they should have done up to that point.
Right.
You know, and now it's too late. And I see this in every strike that I see happen. Nobody really benefits from strikes. Everyone loses money on the deal.
Sashi says Godzilla -1 was made on Hollywood Loose Change. I mean, yeah, I mean, this is part of what I'm talking about is Hollywood spends like, you know, $300 million on some, you know, bloated movie nobody asked for, nobody wanted to see. Now you go and you get Godzilla, a movie like Godzilla -1 that looks like it cost $300 million to make, but it wasn't. I think they say it was like what, 12, somewhere like 12, 15, somewhere in that range.
And did it look like a major production?
Yeah.
Well, and therein lies the whole thing, right? It's the ones that cost the least, and you know they have such a small budget. You look at that and you go, you have the old awe that people have always had when they go to see great special effects, great films, right? How did they do that? Whereas the ones that are wasting their money on excessive CG and whatnot, people are going to it and going, I know exactly how they did that, and I'm not impressed.
The budget they're saying is for Godzilla -1 is $10 to $12 million for the budget, and it came up to like 115.8 million US dollars.
If it cost them, let's say it cost them, let's give them 20 million. If it cost them 20 million, and they make significantly more than 40 million, they've made a profit. And you're saying they made over 100 million. That's the way to make successful films.
Surge of DEI into Hollywood in 2015-ish disrupted the current stat, and 2020 has been trying to find a new equilibrium. While 2015 people are still there with their money to burn, same with the political arena. Yeah.
So there's a bunch of things that have happened in the past half decade to a decade, right? We've had the whole pandemic thing. We've had political situations. We've had major unrest, we'll call it. And we've had this DEI push in our entertainment. All of these things are coming together to destroy businesses. Now, from the socialists, the social anarchists, right? Their point of view, that's what they want to do. They want to destroy business, right? That's how you overthrow. That's how you destroy a government. That's how you destroy an empire, right? Is to destroy all of their pillars. They're doing a great job. All of these things are happening at the same time. My point is that I think that too many people are letting it happen. And people like, you know, I don't know Nelson Peltz from Adam, right? All I know is he's a businessman. And he's making the right calls for business. And as somebody who wants to see companies not fall apart and entertainment actually be good, I support that, right? These are people that are on the front lines of fighting back against these morons. People like Smash JT taking on the game journos. You know, even though it's causing him some headaches and who knows what kinds of stuff it could do to him in the long run, he's fighting the good fight. I have no problem throwing my hat in the ring and saying, you know, he deserves to be supported. What is it they say? The only thing necessary for evil to win is that good men do nothing. Sexist as that may sound, it applies to women too, by the way. Just saying. That's not meant to be, you know, truly sexist.
Patrick Burt says, and hello to Patrick and Matt and Nui and everybody who's joined us in the last few minutes. Joe's Atmosphere, thank you. The strike did have an additional impact as it enticed production companies to dish out more money to the writing teams. It will only make things worse. Yeah. And isn't that IATSE that might be striking here in
watch
August?
for that. That should be coming up August 1st. You know, I've been predicting that for a while. I think that Valiant Renegade and some of the bigger channels have been talking about it too. Pretty sure. Yeah, you can expect it. It's almost a certainty. But yeah, these people they're leeches. They are leeches in these companies, and this is why when these people lose their jobs, you know, I know that people like WDW Pro and whatnot are really classy, and they're like, well, we don't want to see anyone lose their jobs. I'm going to say it. I want to see them lose their jobs. They need to find out what it's like to be on the government dole, you know, and stand in a bread line, and not be able to buy their things and their designer whatnots, and get their hair dyed on a weekly basis to unnatural colors, because, you know, they're screw ups that don't produce anything.
So speaking of screw,
but Matt, the people doing the hiring, they're not judging talent though. They are judging the DEI qualities. Are they the right color? Are they the right gender? Do they profess to want to sleep with the right, you know, people? Do they have the right political opinions? And will they push the right messages? That's what they're evaluating.
You were saying, Boomer.
Oh, I was just saying. I mean, it might have been a bit of a ship, but I was saying. Speaking of stuff that doesn't produce anything, did you Troy? You had posted in the MeWe group, Star Wars group, about the 4-hour Star Wars hotel thing.
Oh
that came
yeah,
out.
what's that little pixie girl's name? Jenny
Jenny
something.
Nicholson. You said you found things out in that you didn't know.
Yeah. So we were and she's not a political type. She's just talking about the things that she's experienced. She loves to go to parks and
she knows about Disney parks.
Yeah, Disney parks and immersion and stuff like that. She's got such a witty way of sharing these things too. She did a 4-hour talk about her, you know, weekend at the Star Cruiser thing that Disney did, and I knew some of the stuff about this and how bad it was, but from her personal experience, it was much worse. It was much worse than anything I heard from Drunk 3PO or any of the other people that were talking about it. When she talked about how much they spent, she compared it to, what is that airline, the cheap airline that charges you extra for everything?
Frontier, or am I thinking of a different one?
I don't think she said Frontier. It was.
But it was like everything's a la carte. Like to get a bigger seat, you pay a
Yeah.
little more. To
Well,
get
she
a
said
snack.
that's how this whole thing was. And the problem with that is that their whole business model was treating this Star Cruiser as if it were a cruise, which would be fine if you actually used that cruise business model. The problem was most of the stuff that they were charging extra for is included in the cruise price if you took a cruise. So it's like, I've already spent this much for this thing, and now you're telling me that this costs extra and that costs extra, and I you know what? I honestly, if you guys said it, I might not even know. I just recommend go checking out Jenny. Was it Jenny Nicholson?
Yes.
Yeah, go check out her channel. Her most recent video was this thing that I'm talking about, and she was talking about some very basic things that you would think Disney would have planned out, right? Like things about scheduling and when you got there and stuff like that, and how chaotic and effed up it was. A lot of story elements about this, in quotes, immersion that it sounds like were planned but never completely, never fulfilled, right? So there were elements. Okay, the whole idea that they sold you on was that you were going and you were going to be part of this immersion, and you would, depending on the choices you made, you could help out the resistance, or you could help out the
First Order.
Or you could be a smuggler, right? Well, what she found in actually trying to do the things in the immersion and play the game and all the stuff on the app, again, it's all app, right?
Looking down at your phone.
Right, exactly. It meant
I'm
nothing.
sorry, what?
Exactly, see? It meant nothing. None of it had any impact. She specifically wanted to be, I can't remember. Oh, she said she wanted, yeah, smart ass. Exactly. She said specifically she wanted to be on the I'm going to call it Imperial. That's what it is. The new Imperials, right? She wanted to be on that track, and she never got any feedback from them. It was all just a mess. And just as she expected, she would talk about this stuff online, and people would come back to her and say, well, you didn't do this right, and you didn't do that right. And the people that are the actors don't know anything. They only know what's in the app. And, then other people would say, oh, it's not what's in the app. It's how you interact with the actors and this and that. And it's like, no, none of that was true. There was no interaction between the app and the actor, even though the actors all had, like, earpieces, and your name, if your name came up, if you said your name, they would say your name back to you, and that was their earpieces way of giving them feedback and saying she's 80% respected by the Empire, 30% respected by the whatever. And so he would know, okay, she's been playing the Imperial side, but none of that was working. Nothing was working. And she was talking about other experiences in Disney that this was based on that worked so much better, and it clearly wasn't engaged and wasn't working in this Star thing. And gosh, I can't even sum up 4 hours for you. You really, really should check it out. But I realize now why it didn't do well. There were, this young girl who goes to these experiences, she's just a consumer, right?
Right.
She could give them instruction on how to make their business better if they listen to her.
I'm sure many people were giving input on how to make Star Wars better, and they were all ignored in recent years. So,
and she even said, after it closed down, she's like, "What happens?" they said that they were going to do something with that. It was, and she said the only thing I can imagine that they would do with this now is turn it into a themed restaurant, a Star Wars themed restaurant. And because of where it is, the only way they could do it is by shuttles.
Oh,
the
no.
same shuttles that took you to the experience would have to shuttle you to the restaurant, and then you go through the whole rigmarole of as if you were being shuttled up to the ship. You have your dinner, and then they got to shuttle you back. This is because it is way in the back behind all of the employee parking and crap. Oh God, it's just a logistic nightmare. I'm like, you know, the fact that nobody lost their jobs over this is ridiculous.
They probably blamed it all on Chapek, right?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Honestly, it's probably all blamed on a minimal flair waitress somewhere.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, because one of the things she said was that she got more interaction when, you know, on the Saturday they have the excursion, you know, like on a cruise, when you go into port, you leave the ship, you visit Mazatlan or wherever you're going. That's how they treated Baku, you know, fake Tatooine, right? And
85% different. Come on. It's close enough.
and this was funny. She said, you know, usually when you're on a cruise and you have an excursion, you're going someplace you want to visit, right? You know, these beautiful port cities and whatnot. Not, you know, the armpit of the galaxy, right? But she said all they would have had to do was have a story reason. You know, we've just been attacked by the First Order, or the Rebellion, or whatever, and so we have to make repairs. You can, you know, we're here at Bachus, whatever. If you want to, you can debark here for the day. Just be very careful, you know, and stay to this and whatever. You know, you just talk it up, right? Well, it turns out that the reason that they had this whole excursion, in addition to making use of the frickin' Star Wars land, right, was also because the way the immersion was working, you have these paid actors that need breaks, and they needed time off. So they were literally distracting you, sending you out to the park so that, you know, the singer and the people on the, in quotes, ship, you know, got some downtime. And it's like, maybe you need to get more people involved. No, they were cutting costs all over the place. And what would happen when you go in to whatever,
Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, you had to do if you were on the Rebellion, or you were on the First Order, the smugglers, you were given an assignment while you were there. You were supposed to go and find these QR codes throughout the land and scan them, and that would like get you points in the story when you got back. But half the time it didn't work. The QR code on the thing wasn't working no matter what you did. You know, again, whether or not it was on the right track or not. She said she got more interaction from the patrons of the shops in Star Wars land than she did from the people on the ship. And they're not paid any extra to be part of the immersion and stuff like that, but they really got into it, and they really did, you know, their thing. It's not like, yeah. It's
Is
not like
this
they got
the
a
same
bonus or
ship
anything.
where you paid like $4,000 or $5,000 to be there, and they would force you to participate in things by making your hotel room door
she talked
open?
about that, and it wasn't. See, that was the one thing that wasn't the way it sounded. Everything was scheduled. Everything. So that, you know, the door opening, and you that was a planned thing, and you knew when that was happening. But the problem with it was not the people in their rooms that this happened to, The problem was the people that had a scheduled dinner that it happened during. And it's like, I got to leave my meal that I've only got so much time to eat to go to see
Go
this
do
little
this thing.
show thing, you know?
Yeah.
Here, kid, go play in traffic. Yeah, that's basically what it was.
But
You're
still,
absolutely right.
it's like, what if I don't want to do that particular thing? You just open the door to my room, and if I'm standing there buck naked, that means everybody gets to see me.
It wasn't quite like that. The doors didn't open. That's
No.
how it was described. But what actually happens is an alarm starts going off, and a voice tells you to go to the, I don't know, the atrium or something like that. You could actually ignore it if you wanted to.
Okay, because I remember her saying something like, your door's open, and it's like, what the heck?
I'll tell you another thing. She said one of the probably coolest things in the room was the like portal view or whatever with space out there, and you could see, and it was like a screen, right? But there were these bright lights all around it, and that was clearly partly to obscure your view to make it look more realistic. The problem is there was no way to turn off those damn lights when you wanted to go to sleep.
Oh, gee.
So people online were saying, hey, pro tip, if you're going to the Star Cruiser, bring gaffer's tape to put over the lights. It'll make it much easier to
You're
sleep.
kidding
And it's
me.
like, I kid you not. This is what
like a
she even
prison
said.
cell. This is
exactly. She's like, why should I, after spending $6,000 for the weekend, have to know to bring gaffer's tape to turn off the lights?
Or a sleep mask.
Yeah.
You'll get a note
We're
from
all
Disney
about
later.
that. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say you'll get a note from Disney later on that we see that you used gaffer's tape in your hotel room. That'll be a $5,000 fee.
I expected to hear something like that, but she didn't mention that, so I just whatever. But
They're all about the customer experience.
Well, now they're about shaking down the customers. Seems like the new
I'm
Genie
gonna-
Pass and all that.
since I took all the time to talk about this, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in the chat because you guys really should go get the full story. You know, I'm giving you a very, very tiny little sliver. And again, it's 4 hours, but you know what? It's broken up into chapters. You can watch it, pick it up later or whatever. It's very entertaining. It's far more entertaining. It sounds like it was more entertaining than the actual experience was for her.
It feels like Disney's always cutting corners. Though. Remember the lightsabers that you would buy, and you would buy a special case for the lightsaber you built, right?
And you're not allowed to take it out in the park either.
Well, there was that, but also eventually they didn't have the cases anymore, so we'll just give you a plastic bag to put it in.
Oh,
People were
I
like,
remember that. I
no,
remember
you're supposed
that,
to.
yeah.
The case is included in the cost. What are you doing? And it was-
Yeah. Oh, and then there were things that happened to her where she didn't get something she was supposed to get or something like that. And she'd complain and she'd basically get, well, there's nothing we could do. And she would reach out to customer service and all this kind of stuff, nothing. But then she'd say something on her social media about it, and suddenly they took care of it for her. And she's like, and that's good and all, but I couldn't help but feel like the only reason they're taking care of this is because I'm on social media and it's bad PR for them. What happens to the person who doesn't do this, It's kind of not fair. So I was like, my gosh,
I don't know.
It did. I'll say one thing though that looked good to me. That she seemed to like she said the food was great. She said that a lot of people complained about the food portions. She's like, I don't understand that. It was buffet. If you went up and got the I don't know, whatever the entree was, and it wasn't big enough for you, you can go back and get 10 of them if you wanted.
Hey, did they have like Star Wars themed, like Millennium Falcon ice cream sandwiches there? You think?
I don't know. They should have done. Man, that actually sounds really good. That's not on the cruise itself, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have that in the Star Wars land.
I have a question. Why didn't they just do an actual Star Wars cruise, like a cruise ship, or have they done that already? Disney.
I don't know. There are Disney cruises, and
Rather than
whatnot.
making this weird hotel that struck me as they didn't think it through.
Were there death sticks? I don't think you were allowed to use death sticks on the ship, only during the excursion. I don't know. I don't know what is the cigarette policy at Disney.
No, it's probably a no. Florida's pretty hardcore. I mean, they're not hardcore, but a lot of business. Like, there are no smoking sections in restaurants anymore down here. That went away a long time ago. So.
Yeah, around here, yeah, it's the same here. And you can't smoke within 15 feet of the door or something like that.
Like, I know a lot of businesses don't want you smoking. Like if you're an employee, they have like a no smoking policy. I think for health insurance reasons.
It's been like 20 years since they had smoking sections, and I go to a restaurant and I will go 2 for non-smoking, and then I'll pause and go, obviously I'm old. You know what I mean?
They used to have smoking hotel rooms too, remember? Like,
yeah, and you could always tell. You could always tell.
So I don't know. What do you think this is going to hurt Galaxy's Edge? The hotel not doing so hot and going under. Are people talking about Galaxy's Edge still? Like it's a big attraction?
I don't think so. Actually, I haven't even been following on Drunk 3PO. I don't know if he's still talking about it. Because he used to be, and he would say, look, here everyone isn't. Look how empty it is. I'm guessing less and less people are talking about it because there's less and less interest in it.
I guess. They had the blue milk and the green milk you could buy, though, remember? That was a thing.
She did mention that, and she said that the blue milk tasted pretty good and the green milk tasted kind of disgusting. And I was like, she said it too straight. I don't think she was making a meta joke about it, but I did find it kind of funny.
Well, remember in Last Jedi when he drinks it, he made that weird face, like, like
yeah.
he was probably purposely drinking something that tasted disgusting because he wanted to make himself as miserable as possible.
I don't remember what the flavors. She said what the 2 flavors were, and it did sound like the blue one would have been pretty good, and the green one would have been not so good.
Luke Lebowski,
but she also pointed out they made it a point to make it in quotes plant-based, and I'm like, yeah, but you can make a juice that tastes really good.
Use almond milk if you want to make it, I guess, whiter, right? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, no, I'm not saying it should have actually been milk, because let's face it, you don't want milk in 110 degree Florida heat, right?
No, that'd be a bad idea. I mean, they have the butterbeer at Harry Potter. I had the impression that the whole Galaxy's Edge thing was supposed to be wanting that Harry Potter money, right? From the Harry Potter park over at Universal.
Exactly. And see, she didn't draw any comparisons between them, but I, in my head, was kind of thinking about some of the things I've heard about the Harry Potter experience and stuff, and the immersion and stuff, and I'm like, clearly Disney's Imagineers are not the front line for Imagineering anymore. They've given up the high ground to other companies. Do you have to squeeze out your milk like Luke did? No, apparently it's served to you, but that
would have been funny if there was an animatronic wall, like space walrus or whatever that thing was, and
it
the
was
person
the
behind the counter has to
from,
squeeze
yeah.
it, and it makes noises as he It's just horrible. Apparently, that was a real complicated animatronic that they had to bring over to that island too. It was very expensive to get it there. Also, Ryan Johnson could have that scene of just.
That was one of the things she talked about, was the lightsaber that they used in the show where it shows the blade coming out,
Yeah.
and honestly, man, that was just pathetic. There are much better ways they could have done that for the show, and the way they used it in their promotions led people to believe that this was something. When they bought the lightsaber, this was something that they were going to get. No, it wasn't. This was just a trick thing for the show, and even in the show, it looked terrible. She could hold it up and hit the button, and the blade would extend, and then she very carefully had to put it down to pick up the real lightsaber, to, in quotes, real lightsaber, for the battles and whatnot.
The one that was already set up.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Was there a Rey? I take it this was Rey. This was supposed to be Rey.
Yes.
Shows up on the Galaxy Cruiser.
Oh, that was another thing. So Rey, of course, is the main rebellion type character in this thing, and when you go to the Jedi training thing, they had these they weren't Jedi, they were Force. Whatever the dude was from Rogue One, the Force monk or whatever, who's not really a Jedi, but he's faithful and whatnot.
I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me.
Yeah.
I know
they were like that, right? All of them were female with dark hair. And she said it seemed pretty clear to me that these were all just extras who played Rey. There was like 12 Reys or 6 Reys.
What?
Yeah.
Because we want diversity.
Well, again, it's corner cutting, right? It's you're playing multiple roles, but you all have to look alike, and yeah. Yeah, no,
I'm for some reason an image came into my head of that scene from Enter the Dragon where the madam brings all the girls by, and I'm imagining all these Reys.
Yeah, they all look like Rey. Yeah.
Oh no, this is just bad. Okay, so Kylo Ren was the villain, I take it, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like he had a very big role either.
I have a question. This is a vacation cruise line. This is a fictional vacation cruise line you're on during this, correct?
Yeah.
Why are you on a vacation during an intergalactic war? What's the reason for that?
That is an excellent question. Especially when, as a guest on the cruise ship, you're being taught how to fire the weapons so that you can help in the battle.
I mean, I could understand. Just this makes any sense. What? You can also smuggle stuff on board. Wasn't that a big thing? You can help smuggle things aboard.
Yes.
Luggage.
Apparently, while you were checking in, there was the possibility that someone would come and ask you to help smuggle something aboard, and this would either lead to the rebellion storyline, the smuggler storyline, or if you said no and you called for an Imperial, it would help put you on the Imperial track. But again, none of that worked. None of it,
So she ended up on the good guy track. Is that what happened?
She didn't feel like she was on any track. And there was like one thing after her excursion that may have worked that keyed her into a Rey interaction thing where she finds a holocron or something. She's like, but I don't know if that was what I did actually really had any impact or it was just luck. She kind of talks about that.
Oh, a Sith holocron, right?
No. This was a Jedi holocron because then what happens is Yoda appears from it or whatever. And,
was he like CG Yoda?
No, it was actually pretty cool. It was. Have you ever seen those alarm clocks where the numbers appear above it because there's a propeller, like a plexiglass propeller that goes really quick, and it You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was like that, but looked really cool. And it was
Take care, man.
it kind of uses the same technology as the ghosts in the Haunted Mansion. You know, where there's a projection onto the plexiglass. So it looks like a hologram above it. It looked actually really cool.
Okay. Oh, look at this. Someone mentioned Mon Calamari. Wouldn't it be funny if on the cruise ship a member of the Mon Calamari species serves you calamari?
That was probably the biggest disappointment was the aliens. All of the aliens were either different colored skin with a head thing, like with Leku, like what are they called? The I forget the name of the races. The Bib Fortuna's people and
Right.
Ahsoka's people, and the captain was like some blue chick, and they're all just different.
Was she supposed to be Thrawn's race?
No, she's supposed to be a different blue race.
Okay, all right.
But the only really good alien was there was a Rhodian female who was a singer in the band.
Okay.
Who Jenny said was like she was like one of the best characters, but she didn't have enough story time really.
Okay. So there was a band.
Twi'lek and Trogatu, yeah, Togruta, yeah, that's right.
Is there a CD you could buy of the music? What kind of music was it? Was it original?
Yes,
songs?
there was. It sounded very generic.
I have a question. Could you buy the CD or did they give you the CD?
Nope, you had to buy it.
Because
Everything was extra. Everything was extra.
the CDs don't cost much to manufacture. You could just give them one of those out or whatever.
You would think. Yeah, it sounds like it was. I'm glad, because the first thing that put me off from it was that it was sequel trilogy based. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, I'm out. Then I saw the price tag, and I'm like, well, I would have been out anyway. I can't afford it, because it's $6,000. It probably would have been more for two people. And you've also got to factor in flying down to Florida, accommodations besides the days that you're there and whatnot. I'm pretty sure you have to pay to get into the park on top of that. It's like all kinds of no. Do
You think the Star Trek experience was a better value?
Oh, the Star Trek experience was awesome.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, and there wasn't... The Star Trek experience was a zero cost. You just walk around it, right? I mean, Netter and I paid to stay at the hotel. We paid for our meals there. We didn't have to, but we chose to. Obviously, we had to fly out there and everything. But when you were at the Star Trek experience, there was two shows or immersions or whatever you want to call them, and you paid for them separately. And they were going all day long. You could plan a time anytime you wanted to. You could say, you know what, I got about a half hour right now. Let me do the Klingon experience. And go and do that one. I think was it the Klingon encounter? I don't remember what it was, but it was like a time travel thing. You're on the Enterprise. It's attacked by a Klingon, and so forth.
Right.
Or you know what? I got a half hour. I'll do the Borg experience. And the line, such that it was you were in line for about 15 minutes tops. And it was going all day long, just show after show after show after show. And that was just awesome. And then you could go into Quark's bar and you could talk to the Klingons, you could talk to the Ferengi, and these people were doing improv that was just unbelievable. The Ferengi knew every single rule of acquisition, and they could talk about finance and commerce, and there was no messing with them. And the Klingons, they knew their Klingon lore, let me tell you. I wasn't too fluent in Klingon at the time, so I wasn't able to challenge them on that too yeah, no, there were no Devorians there. Like I said, it was just the Togruta and the Twi'leks. That's and the one Rhodian. Everyone else was just different color skin. I know. I said that whole Star Trek experience should have become a traveling show. They should have done that. They absolutely could have, and they didn't.
I did think it was great that when when Troy did ask the Ferengis what the different rules of acquisition were, he's like, "What is the rule of acquisition number, or whatever?" And they would just look at him like really defiantly and spout off what it was. He's like, "That's right. Don't you forget."
No, it's true, because I wouldn't ask the question if I didn't know the answer. And they would look at me and I'm like, "Yep, he was right. He was absolutely 100% right." But yeah. Yep. I just ran off with your show again. Deleted scenes. I'm sorry.
No. That's okay. I've just been dealing with this on Twitter with this asshole from who writes for Fallon.
He
right.
actually does write for Fallon. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So Variety has this story concerning the box office for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, right? I'll read off this headline.
Sure.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is in fourth place after earning $3.4 million on Friday, down 50% from the $6.8 million last Friday. To which, responding to this is Chase Mitchell, who, according to his bio, writes for Jimmy Fallon's show. Says, and I quote, "I think it's time to accept that a large part of the movie-going public sucks shit."
What?
To which I responded with, "Cut out the insults and quit making shit, and maybe we might come back." This is the attitude of these people, and they think they're high and mighty. And thank you to Elon Musk, I'm going to keep cutting them down to size as many times as I need to until they wake up.
Yeah.
If they're not careful, they're going to lose. Theater chains are going to start closing theaters, basically. That's where this is going to lead. And then what are they going to do? You going to be a streaming star? Really? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't AMC already on the ropes? Like right after the like toward the end of the pandemic, they were in big trouble, and I don't know.
None of them have really bounced back since then, and you really cannot afford to drive away more customers. You just can't. They're living beneath the sword of Damocles, right? So you'd think they'd stop, smoking under it and, throwing stars up at it.
Mark says they can keep the Planet of the Apes remakes. They have nothing on the original. Pure crap.
Well, they haven't really gotten to remakes yet. These are still prequels and in-between quills.
But is it really?
Huh? What was
well,
that?
I mean, the newer Apes movies, they're just kind of going into their own direction with it. The only real straight up remake was the Wahlberg one, and that missed the point completely.
Oh yeah, that one.
No.
Yeah.
That one unfortunately had some great potential, but that ending just sucked.
Ape Lincoln.
I like Tim Roth in that movie, though. He was just way too into it.
Well, apparently they were going to bring him back because I guess he interfered with human history. That was the impression I got.
Yeah.
He did a great job.
Yes.
Bring me the spaceman.
He was originally going to be Snape in the Harry Potter movies, but he didn't take the role because he was going to be in the Planet of the Apes remake, and so went to I just had his name in my head. He died.
Alan
Oh,
Rickman.
Well.
Alan
Yeah.
Rickman,
Yes.
yeah. I'll tell you what, Tim Roth has not been used as well as he's a very talented. I mean, what we saw him as Abomination in the Incredible Hulk,
And She-Hulk.
Yeah,
whatever.
he got dragged into that. Yeah.
Right?
Interestingly, it seems to have been a very different Abomination, so you kind of wonder if he's actually playing the same character. He, like you said, he played the character in Planet of the Apes. He was in a great. Well, he's also done Tarantino. He was in a great Tarantino related project called Four Rooms. We did a watch party.
Oh
of it.
yeah.
Oh, he was brilliant in that movie. Very different, very comedic role. I highly recommend, if you've never seen Four Rooms, check it out.
I'm here for the room for making love.
You mean the honeymoon suite? Yeah, this. That movie is hysterical. Yes, my parents did me the disservice of naming me Theodore. Don't know how you know that, because everyone who knows that is thousands of fucking miles away.
If I remember right, wasn't he in Pulp Fiction too?
He was in
Oh, yeah.
Pulp Fiction, yes. Yes, he was. Yes, he
Especially
was.
that TV series Lie to Me.
Lie to
I
Me,
don't know
yeah,
that
that was
one.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, it was on
He was
Fox.
They cut that series too short. They should at least another 2 years at least out of it.
My impression of the past decade and a half is if something is good, they're going to kill it before it's time. If it
Right.
sucks, it'll go on for 37 years.
Oh,
Like
All
going
stuff
back,
that
going back to Person of Interest for a minute, and let me preface this by saying they did get an ending. It wasn't like they ended it in a cliffhanger or something. It got its ending, and it ended the only way it really could have. To be honest, which some people might be upset with in places, but it's like they told you from the beginning what was going to happen, and it happened. But the point was the network really didn't treat that show very well in the end. I don't think they realized that there was a rabid fan base, a very small fan base compared to maybe some other shows. But, there were some real diehards.
Well, and I think
what happened was, okay, we'll give you a final season, but we're going to cut it in half. So, okay, they cut it in half, wrapped everything up in 13 episodes. But what happened was the network didn't show those 13 episodes for an entire year. And then showed those 13 episodes over a month.
Jeez.
And I went, I don't think that was particularly fair, because if you're going to wait a year to show it to begin with, say so up front. Because I am willing to believe that there were things that the writers would have done differently if they knew they were going to have that time. But the network didn't give them the time. They just spent off all of the episodes. And like I said, it's not bad. it wasn't thrown together. It was quality. It was an ending that made sense within the mythology of the show. Oh, okay, makes sense. It all tracked. I have one kind of minor quibble, but other than that, I thought it was fine. But it's like sometimes these networks don't know what they have, or they think they are making shows. And hello, Jason. I think you're thinking that they are making these shows for an audience that isn't actually there. I think if it was really up to us, the television landscape would be very different right now. There would certainly be better movies if they would bother to listen to us, asshole from Fallon Tonight.
That's Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah.
Jimmy Fallon.
Okay.
Yeah. And, they like to blame the Oscars on us too, which I think is really weird, and I'm like, hey, Hollywood, we, the general public, are not the ones who made Hattie McDaniel sit in the kitchen.
Right.
Okay? X amount of Asians have been nominated or have won Oscars. That's not our fault. We don't get to vote on that. Quit projecting your racism on us. We are not the reason you make crap. You are the reason you make crap because you're not talented enough. Go back to the drawing board. Cut the crap, or else, you know what? The box office is going to get cut in half again. You're going to have half of half. And you can blame us all you fucking want to, but we're calling you on this shit now.
Yep.
And we got them running scared.
Well, it looks
and
like
I'm willing to throw the insults back at them now.
It's starting to look like they don't know how they're going to finance the next award show. They're that concerned.
Yeah, they were asking for donations.
Oh.
When you get to that point, it's like...
Maybe don't have the award show then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you didn't see this coming, then you're just stupid,
It's like, oh, we may have to cancel the Golden Globes this year. We might not be able to televise it. Oh, okay.
I don't think I've watched one of those award shows in 7 years anyway.
Jeez. Yeah.
It's been longer for me.
Yeah.
I was never really into them, to be honest.
And speaking of Jason, who's here in the chat with us, I wound up like watching the Oscars with him. Kind of, that was not my plan, but I think it did in the end make for a better show.
So
because
you didn't want to watch the Oscars with Jason? Poor Jason.
Well, no, because he found he found a way we could watch it without getting yanked off the air or anything. So thank him for that. But yeah, Sashi says, "Oh no, not the Golden Globes." Yeah, it's like that Jeremy Clarkson meme. Oh no. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy.
And again, there's this Schadenfreude, right? Because we all saw this coming. We even told them this was coming, and now it's here. Surprise!
But you promised not to use it on us. We lied.
Yeah,
Get that
exactly.
you crazy bastard. Anyway, I'm getting punchy. It's late. This is how I get when I have now pulled all of you into my own private psychosis here. Have fun with that. Hi.
It's so similar to my own psychosis, I really didn't see the difference.
Come inside. It's fine in here.
I'm reading
There's a
responses.
family of bunnies in there, isn't there?
Oh yes, there are bunnies,
I'm reading responses.
I got gremlins.
and they're made out of chocolate.
Diane,
Go
I'm
ahead.
holding in my hand a box of chocolate
Looks of
bunnies.
chocolate bunnies. Go ahead, Boomer.
Since I'm reading responses to that one tweet you were talking about, and one of the responses was, the quote-unquote movie going public talks and plays on their phones the whole movie, which is why I don't go to theaters anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's
true
one
too.
response. You were going on a bit. Yeah, Troy has a issue about people on their phones all the time.
I do like this. Kimmel needs to
Yeah.
stop hosting. Ricky Gervais should do it every year. The ratings would soar.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is he was too on point. And let's face it, he warned them. He warned them.
He did.
Right
Yes, he
there
did.
on their stage.
Make the Oscars in the Thunderdome. Yeah, that would be.
Right.
People keep bringing up the economy, that no one has the money to be going to these movies that are more expensive than ever to go see.
Mhm.
People
I-
forget during
there-
the Great Depression, movies were cheap entertainment.
Yes.
Get you out of the
That's
house.
that's my whole point. It's not that. It's value for your dollar. People will budget for entertainment. But if it's not of value to them, they won't spend their money on it.
Yeah.
Although I do think there is an element of I mean I used to as the whole Star Wars thing was happening and whatnot, and I'd see some of my friends going and seeing it, and I'd tell them why they shouldn't be going. Oh, I had nothing to do on a Saturday. I just thought I'd go see it. Only now are they starting to get more critical and going, okay, no. I did that way too much. I am not going to go waste my money on something I'm not really going to enjoy anymore. Get Will Smith to slap someone again. That was kind of the end for them, and I predicted it at the time. Everyone saw in real time how nuts these people were. They were not people to be looking up to. It had lost all of its glitz and glamour, right? Which was all the award shows ever were. So now, just tell me, who won and who lost, and I don't need to actually watch it.
Oh, looks like I'm looking at his tweets now. He was making fun of Johnny Depp now. That was another thing.
Yeah, he was doing that.
That's not a smart thing to do either.
Yeah.
That's another thing that loses you half of your audience right off. Boom. And the people you end up keeping are toxic people you don't want around.
True.
Yeah.
People like those on the payroll at Kotaku.
If you don't mind me using some language, he sounds like a professional asshole. That's what this guy does for a living. He's insulting others. He insulted Lady Gaga a minute ago. He's just insulting people. I don't know.
You know what I say to that? Assholes unite and form a tunnel.
Yeah. That's the other
True.
thing. When you and I said it about the Johnny Depp comment, it's true about any celebrity. If you take a strong stand for or against somebody, you're going to alienate the people that disagree with you.
Did anyone here see the Planet of the Apes movie? Did you delete it scene? The new one?
No,
Okay.
I haven't.
Neither did I.
I probably will end up seeing it when it comes out on DVD. Because you know me, I'm a completist.
I
I'll
know
probably wait for
Moira
it.
played a little bit of it.
Mm.
Yeah, because like I said, I find myself, and this is kind of the Big Al influence a little bit. I kind of find myself um, kind of watching more of these VOD movies. I talked about this earlier tonight. Watching more of these, what would ordinarily be the straight to video movies
Sure.
back in the day, and just finding I like those a lot more than you know. If I'm watching an asylum film and it's better than half of the movies that are out right now, then something has gone wrong.
Yeah.
You know, there's no reason why I should like Monster Mash better than I did the Fall Guy, but I did. You know, so
Wasn't that like Dracula and the
hell?
Mummy and
Yeah,
Mhm.
Is that the movie Universal should have put out? Maybe.
should have put out. Yeah, basically, the idea of it is Dr. Frankenstein uses his monster to kidnap Dracula's daughter,
Oh.
and which, needless to say, Dracula, none too thrilled. So he gets he gets the Universal monsters together, and of course they have to be very careful about how they do that. So they change a little bit, but not too much. So you know who everybody is, you know, and because the monster has also attacked all of them for various reasons, and they got to find out what's going on. And then you have Michael Madsen as Dr. Frankenstein, basically playing Michael Madsen. Because you know, I'm Dr. Victor Frankenstein, and yeah, you're my prisoner now, and yeah, it's gonna be a long hour and a half.
It's gonna be a long hour and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm probably only going to be in 5 scenes of this thing, and not actually be in the same shot as anyone, and yet actually this is still a good movie, and
Hell.
I'm just making this shit up as I go, you know. Got this monster sidekick, and I'm gonna have them, what do you call it, kidnap that girl over there. You know? I'm gonna threaten her a little bit, and attempt to scare her, and it won't really work, but hey, I'm just happy to be in a movie, you know.
Was Igor in it?
You mean Igor?
Igor, no, there's no Igor in the movie, I don't think.
There's Igor.
I don't know.
Yeah, Igor. No Igor.
I didn't read the script, to be honest, and they just tell me where to stand, and I make it up as I go along. Anyway, it's kind of like that, but it's still. I'm overstating it, but it is kind of a fun movie.
You did just make me think of going back to that question you asked previously about independent, films and whatnot. If you're a horror fan, from what I've heard, Shudder is really, really good. Not only are they, licensing and carrying, some of your favorite horror films, but they've got some of their own originals. And not only are, they streaming them, but after they've streamed them for a while, they release them on physical media. So Shudder, if you're a horror fan, definitely worth it. This is not a sponsored stream, by the way. Just sharing something I like.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up because I'm a horror fan since I was a baby, and Shudder definitely has that shit going on, which is great. I'm happy.
And I'm unaware of there being any like sci-fi equivalent, but on YouTube for free, 2 channels, Amleto and Dust, both are. I don't think they have feature-length sci-fi films, but they have sci-fi shorts that are really, really worth checking out. And again, free.
Right. And I can like Skinamarink if I want to.
It's fine.
Okay, so it's abstract. Okay, so it's 20 minutes too long. Okay, so you can't hear any of the dialogue, but it's still creepy.
You hear a lot of undefined
Anyway.
whispering of the little boys.
Yeah,
Go upstairs. It's like this.
go upstairs, and then they have that shot that looks upstairs. Go, I'm not going up there. Okay, kid, you can go up there first if you want to.
Remember they were eating
It's not
breakfast
cowardice.
cereal?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, they were eating breakfast cereal and watching cartoons in the one scene, but you only saw like the bowl of cereal, not them eating it, right?
Mhm.
That's how it worked.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are our Paramount's doing?
Who knows?
I don't.
Right.
Well, they have the big summer hit Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F coming out, and oh wait, that's coming straight to Netflix. It's not coming to a theater.
No.
Nobody knows what they're doing anymore. I like the Seinfeld quote, like what's going on in Hollywood now? No, it's all just confusion. That's the
Mm-hmm. And then he turns around and makes Unfrosted.
Was that any good?
No.
Okay.
They're still dipping into the wacky juice.
I guess.
I'm sorry if it's. Look, I know comedy is hard to do, and especially now because you got a lot of people writing comedy who don't know what they're doing, or are too afraid to be funny. And but if you tell me that it's this dark age of comedy and there's all of these things that are wrong and it's too woke, and you better make a movie that does something more than make me lightly chuckle once in 90 minutes. I get what you're going for. It's just not funny. It's a movie that has both Amy Schumer and Melissa McCarthy. I mean...
Oh, God. How could that possibly be funny?
No. And Jim Gaffigan. No!
My eyes!
My
hearing!
Oh, my God.
That's definitely something I missed is comedy.
What is 1 minute time machine term?
I can't remember if I mentioned it on here earlier or during Geeky Geezers, but it is a sci-fi film. It's a short film.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Very, very... It's funny. It's funny. It's... I don't want to say too much about it because I will ruin it. I really will.
Mm-hmm.
It is all of... Oh, this is... I'm sorry. This is just the trailer for it. I got to find the full movie. I'll
It's
get
like
it for
part
you.
of it is that you can go back 1 minute in time.
Yeah, and a guy uses the 1 minute time machine to pick up a girl. You know, kind of like you know, kind of
Groundhog
like
Day.
Groundhog's Day in a way. Give me a second. Let me find you guys the full movie. I know it's on here somewhere.
And it has the actor that played the assistant. What do you call him? Autopsy guy on NCIS. I can't think of coroner, assistant coroner on NCIS,
okay.
and then he became the actual coroner on NCIS when Ducky retired.
Yeah, the kid that played Jimmy.
Oh,
Yeah,
Palmer. Yeah.
Palmer.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 minute time machine is a short film that probably helped Rick and Morty, and then it cuts off.
5 minute 40 seconds. Here it is. I'm dropping it now.
Oh, and
Yeah,
I'm gonna. I gotta get to bed, but it was nice hanging out with
Oh,
y'all.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Right, Boomer.
Yes.
What do you have? What do you have coming up?
Oh no, just I'll be on Sparkwood and 21 with you on Tuesday, and I'll be on Last Call Tripicelli on Friday, and then Geeky Geezers next Sunday. So I'll catch you all then.
Right
Bye
on.
bye.
Thank you for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
Night, Boomer.
All right. Yeah, we're going to wrap this up soon. Anyway, I know Curtis let me know before the stream that he thought he was going to be on for maybe a half hour and have to leave, and he's been with us the whole
Yes, I've had too much fun listening to y'all. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's fine. And hello to Bello Triggerfish. And I did also send a link to the Clue channel, who was wanting to come on, but I still have not heard back from him. So, and he kind of disappeared from the chat. So I was hoping he would be able to join us, but all right. Let's see. Sashi says they don't do comedy; they have jokes. Madam Web was a joke. Well, Madam Web was, now we've kind of learned what happened there. Is that was a movie that was basically changed in post. They changed the story of the film in post production.
Not a good
Which
plan.
is what, no, not a good plan. And they had the ADR. And that's the reason why the villain is so badly ADR'd, because they changed his entire motivation for why he was doing what he was doing. You know, and because somebody in the 11th hour decided that, you know, a guy chasing 3 teenage girls around to kill them was problematic. And I'm like, that's not problematic. That's every horror movie that's ever been made.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the villain. It's not problematic. He's the villain that needs to be overcome.
Yeah.
If he's not overcome, that's problematic.
Yeah.
Show us your strong woman overcoming the big bad man. Yeah, these.
Yes, we are strangely addicting.
maybe losing lots of money is problematic. Did you ever think of that, Hollywood? Dumbasses.
Of course not.
Anywho, let's start wrapping this up. We're going to go around the horn. Curtis, what do you have coming up, sir?
Well, hopefully I can get enough time away from work and storms to actually do something. I know Thade and I keep wanting to do something for ancient civilizations on a Saturday, and really that's not all I have planned at the moment. I kind of need to get back on my feet from some of the difficulties at work, but and that's really it, sadly.
No worries. To start, Connie. She of two channels now. What's in the future for Fluff Chick Productions?
Right now, hopefully I'll be getting more of my projects up and running so I can put it on the channel. Right now, I got one project sitting right in front of me, waiting for me just to do a little short, so I can post it within the next day or two. So everything else will be to be determined.
Right on. Netter.
Well, let's see. Today is Sunday, so the next thing I
No,
have.
it's actually Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's Monday now because it's 1 o'clock in the morning for us. So today is Monday. So I will be co-hosting on, what are you calling it? Last Call, Monday night at the movies with Last Call.
Monday night.
Monday night,
last
right?
call's Monday night at the movies. Yes.
Yeah, it's like,
You
I gotta write
confused
that one
me.
down. So I'll be co-hosting on that, as well as co-hosting on Tuesday's last episode of, was it season 2?
Yeah.
Over on, right here on this channel, for Sparkle and 21. On Thursday Things, my special guest will be Tom Conkle, and we'll be talking about Island in the Stars and getting some updates on that. Let's see, then Friday, I'll be co-hosting on Last Call with Troy Pacelli. And Saturday, co-hosting with Big Al on his channel for Midnight Madness. I think that's it. I get to co-host a lot.
Not a bad thing.
Nope.
Oh, me. Yeah, so like Netter said, tomorrow night, well, later tonight, I suppose. Friday night last call, Monday night at the Friday. Last calls Monday night at the movies. Double feature, Back to the Future 1 and 2. Where not only will Netter be guest hosting with me, but Deleted Scenes and Jedi Bill. Because this is well, we got to get you prepped with parts 1 and 2 because next Sunday, for Western Cinema Presents,
Oh, right, I forgot about that.
will be Back to the Future 3 on Deleted Scenes and Jedi Bill's channels, and Netter and I will be guesting over there as well. So that's later tonight or after one sleep, I suppose. Tuesday, as she mentioned, Sparkwood and 21. Thursday, Netter's Network with Tom Conkle. Haven't decided yet on a topic for Friday. Boomer and I are still chewing on that. We've got some pokers in the fire. I've got a few invitations out to some guests. They're long shots, but working on it. We'll let you know as we get closer to Friday. Last Friday, I didn't have the stream posted until just a couple hours before, which I think threw some people off. I'll try to do better.
Do better, Troy.
I'll do better. Yes. Saturday, Midnight Madness, and then yeah, the Deleted Scenes show all day Sunday. He's muted.
All right. Well, yes.
Nothing new.
Yeah. Muted that deleted.
Dude, we weren't telling you to shut up or anything.
Right.
You did
Yeah,
yourself.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like that deleted guy, so yeah, muted him. And took over. You've done enough, Vic. I'm back. Hi. Deleted Scenes. Yes. Join me and Jedi Bill tomorrow for our Memorial Day double feature beginning at 2:30 with To Hell and Back and the Battle of Britain. Of course, Last Call Monday Night at the Movies for part 1 and 2 of Back to the Future. Tuesday night, 8:30 with Live from Sparkwood and 21. Action Theater. Thursday at 4:30, we're going to be watching Behind Enemy Lines. And then, of course, next Sunday, Western Cinema Presents, where Troy and Netter will join Bill and myself for part 3 of Back to the Future. All right.
Cool.
I'd like to thank everyone who joined us in the chat. Of course, everybody who is, since we are simulcasting on a number of channels tonight, anyone who watches us on any of the channels, of course, Troy is how many watch hours away?
Well, as of right now, 56. But who knows how many I got tonight? And I don't think it's counted up even as far back as
It
last
only
call.
goes back to the 21st, I think.
Yeah, so I it could be less than 56. I'm getting really close. Really close.
Right. So I'd like to thank everybody who joined us in the chat. Everybody who watches the delay, please hit the like, share out the stream, subscribe to all of my fine fellow panelists here, and of course, subscribe to everybody who was in the chat with us tonight. I'd like to thank Aged Boomer for joining us. And of course, Michael Madsen as Dr. Victor Frankenstein. Yeah, I really enjoyed being here. Thank you. Hey, folks, you watch one of my shows, you get me. This is how it is. All right. Netter, would you like to take us out with your final words?
I can do that. We can talk amongst ourselves, and that's all well, good, and fun. But it is so much more fun when you guys are joining us in the chat, and you're dropping your comments, questions, trivia, being goofy, whatever it may be. And it doesn't feel like we're separated by miles or continents in some cases. It feels like we're all hanging out in the same room, enjoying each other's company and having a great time. And you guys, you know you're not just our friends. You are our family. We love you guys, and we appreciate you so very much. You can be anywhere right now, and you crazy people are up at this hour here encouraging us. So thank you so much for that. Also keep in mind that today is Memorial Day, so it is a day of remembrance. So it's not just about barbecues. So just keep that in mind. If you know anyone that's served, just keep them in your thoughts. Or if you know anyone that's serving currently, keep them in your thoughts and prayers. With that said, good night and God bless.
Indeed. And from HQ in all points north, south, east, west, and beyond, good night, take care, stay strong, because this is how we win.